article that's coming out of Tunisia, and it involves the foreign minister.
That's right. This is an incredible story, and it all started on a blog called To Be Good Again that's run by a journalist called Ulfa Riahi. Now, the scandal involves the foreign minister, Rafik Abdel-Salem, who's not only the foreign minister, he's also Rached Ghannouchi, so the president of the ruling Islamist party, his son-in-law. So the blog says that it has proof that the foreign minister has embezzled public money by spending huge amounts of money on certain hotel rooms at the Sheraton Hotel in Tunis. And on top of that, accuses him of having an affair with a married woman. Now, this has been picked up, as you can imagine, by a lot of the Tunisian press who are calling it the Sheraton affair. For instance, we're going to take a look at an article in Business News, the website, that points out that the woman in question, she's only known by her initials, SN. She spoke on a radio saying that she's not his mistress, but his cousin. And meanwhile, the foreign minister has said that he's the victim of a defamation campaign. Another website called Capitalis says that since he was named foreign minister, Rafik Abdel-Salem has only caused trouble, and now he is involved in this embezzlement scandal. Also, these allegations of an extramarital affair. Meanwhile, he's always the one that's going around giving people lessons. So Capitalis says this is the last straw. He must go.
Providing lots of scope for the papers, certainly anyway, in Tunisia and further afield. Well, we'll move on to the next story, Syria, and the defection of one of the generals whose job was, in fact, to stop defections.
That's right. We'll look at a cartoon in the International Herald Tribune today, which shows a tree that looks a lot like Bashar al-Assad there, that's losing all its leaves that look like general stars. So according to the International Herald Tribune, he's more and more isolated there. And while we're on the subject of Syria, there's a really interesting article in the Guardian today that focuses on one of the sad consequences of fighting, which is looting, and it's written by their correspondent in Aleppo. And it says that scrambles for the spoils of war engulf Syria's revolution, and it starts with the example of a Syrian rebel commander known as Abu Jamil. Now, he wasn't killed by the government, he was killed by fighting over his loot. And the Guardian quotes another rebel commander that says, if he had died fighting, that's fine because he was a rebel, but the fact that he died because of this feud over his loot, that is a disaster for the revolution. And according to the Guardian, this really threatens the unity of the rebels.
Now, Pakistan, we were looking as well, and a story where the former Prime Minister, Benazir Bhutto's son, has launched his political career, a third generation, it seems, of that family.
That's right. We'll take a look at the Pakistani press, Dawn, which points out that Bilawal Bhutto Zardari launched his political career on the 5th anniversary of his mother's death. And there you see a photo of him there with his father, President Asif Ali Zardari. Now, a general election is due in the spring. He's too young. He's 24, so he can't present himself. But the PPP, the Pakistan People's Party, is counting on him to attract a lot of support. And there's another article in The Independent that points this out. It says that he's key to regaining mass appeal because since his mother's death, the PPP has run into some problems. And his father, the president, has lost a lot of confidence because there are allegations that he is corrupt. So a lot of the party is counting on the son to attract a lot of people. And Gulf News in their editorial points out that there are very high expectations of him. Meanwhile, it points out that the situation since his mother's death is still very dangerous. So a lot resting on his shoulders.
And he certainly put a lot of passion into that speech he made yesterday. Well, Flo, finally, we're going to look at The Independent, focusing on a controversial scientific test, and that's being carried out in the UK.
That's right. People are always concerned about how old they are, but are you concerned about how old you really are, Karen?
I kind of am, actually, so maybe this is good for me.
There's a test that claims to tell people how fast they're aging. So a lifespan test, maybe to tell them how much longer they have to live. It's controversial because a lot of people say that it doesn't actually really work. It's also expensive. It costs £650. And to be honest, I don't know if I really want to know how much longer I have.
When you mention that price, no thanks. Flo, thanks very much for that update on international press news. Do stay tuned to France 24.